this will drastically improve your playing if you can just start following the one around and you know where that is, and then you'll start learning the intervals of what note you are within your scale and where you are relative to the one of the scale that you're in, which in the case that we just practiced was a C. Hey, it's Donny A. Today we're going to talk about how to start incorporating chord tones within your solos. And we're going to use the pentatonic scale as our base. This is going to be an easy lesson. If you're more advanced with chord tones, you can check out one of my other lessons that goes a little more in depth on this. Otherwise, you should stick around because this is how I started with chord tones. Basically, what we're going to do is just try and find the one of the chord over the chord changes. And what this is going to help you do is it's going to help you know where you are within your scale, and it's going to help you understand the intervals of the scale. So it's going to help you understand if you're playing the one note of the scale, the four note of the scale, the five note of the scale, and so on. This is a great lesson. This is how I started, and at first it's a lot of hunting and pecking because you don't really know what note you're playing as you're playing it. But once you start getting this down, it's going to open everything up for you. So you're going to like this one. Stick around. So we're gonna work within the pentatonic scale for this lesson. So just run over that quickly. It's on your 5th fret. On your low E string, you start. It's 5 8, 5 7, 5 7, 5 7, 5 8, 5 8. And we're gonna also use this extension here, which is on the B string. It's 8 10, and then E string is 8 10. So you have. And then we're also probably going to throw in the 9th fret on the G string. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I have a chord progression on loop. We're going to play that. It's going to be a 1 4 5 6 chord progression, and then it's going to start over at the 1. And since this is going to be our first lesson for chord tones, what I want us to focus on is just playing the one of the chord. So if you have a very basic understanding of the Nashville number system, you have a number is associated with each chord in a key. So the one chord in a C major key is the C. And then the 4 chord is an F major key. Or is an F major, sorry. So you have the 1 is the C, the 4 is the F, the 5 is the G major chord, and then the 6 is the A minor chord. So that's also how a scale is counted. So within a pentatonic scale, which we're starting with, if you're starting with a 1, which would be your C, you would be on the 5th fret of the G string would be a 1. So we're mostly going to play with the top strings here. So that would be a 1, and then you have a 2, a whole step away, and then another whole step gets you to the 3. And then not within a pentatonic scale, but a half step away is your 4, and then a whole step away is your 5. And then your 6 is on your high E string at the 5th fret. And then you would have a 7 a whole step away, and your 8, which would be your C again, is on the 8th fret of the high E. So what I want you to do, I'm going to start the loop, is really just work on finding your ones. So it's a 1, 4, 5, 6 progression. So how that would go is you'd have a 1 here, you have a 4 here on the 6th fret of the B that we talked about. You have a 5 on the 8th fret of the B, and then on the 10th fret of the B, you would have your 6. Or you could have your 6 down here. There's a 6 up here. So what this is going to help you do, excuse me, as you're soloing, is really just work out where is the one of the chord I'm playing. So let's get started. That's a C. F, that's your 4, 5 to 6. Back, 1 again, 4 to 5, 6, 4 to 5 to 6 to 1. 4 to 5 to 6. All right, so if you could hear, it all sounded good, right? It's nothing spectacular, right? It's just to get your head wrapped around it. And once you start knowing, okay, this is where my 1 is, this is where my 4 is, this is where my 5 is, this is where my 6 is, then you start knowing where the notes of your scale is. And if you know what note is where in the scale, it becomes a lot easier to solo with chord tones over a song. So once you feel comfortable with that, you can start adding in extra notes, right? So when it's on your 1, to your 4, to your 5, to your 6, back to 1, to 4, to 5, to 6, back to 1 again, back to 4, back to 5, 6, so this is a great place to start. And what I did to really get better at this is I challenged myself that every time I threw on my looper pedal or I practiced soloing, in my head, I was going to follow chord tones. And that's what I did. And it took a while, right? But it was worth it. I mean, I got so much better from this one aspect of let's just follow the 1 around, right? And then let's try and add some notes here and there to the 1 once I'm comfortable where the 1 is. And then once you get better at that, you can start, now you know where your 1, your 4, your 5, your 6 is, or whatever your chord progression is. It doesn't have to be a 1, 4, 5, and 6. You can add a 2 and 3 in there, right? But once you add your 2 and 3, now you know where your 3 is. You know that your 3 is within your chord. So now you can go from your 1 to your 2 to your 3 and back again. Then you can switch to your 4 when it's your 4 chord. Now that you know where your 4 is and how the intervals work, you can turn your 4 into your 1, right? And then your 4 becomes your 1. And then you can go to 2, 3. You can add the 5 of the 4 chord in, right? And you can stay within the pentatonic scale shape as your bass, and you can add these other chord tones in, even if they're out of the scale, as long as that chord's playing. And that's more advanced. I have another lesson that goes into that a little bit, which I can link at the end of this video. But I think this will drastically improve your playing if you could just start following the 1 around and you know where that is, and then you'll start learning the intervals of what note you are within your scale and where you are relative to the 1 of the scale that you're in, which in the case that we just practiced was a C. So you'd know where your 4 is relative to your 1, you know where your 5 is relative to your 1, you know where your 2 and your 3 is, your 7 obviously. And once you know where all those notes are, what you can do is endless, and it's all going to sound good if you're playing chord tones, and you'll drastically improve and really thank yourself a year or so down the road that you didn't just keep noodling over the pentatonic scale every time you soloed and have no idea what chords playing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Please like and subscribe, and I'm going to have some more content coming out for you. Thanks.